In episode 1 of the Transalp build, I started the process of transforming a Transalp 750 into a true, capable adventure travel weapon in homage to the bikes that Honda used to make. A bike that's as good at covering distance as it is on the trails. We made some good progress fitting the protection, the tall seat, the cruise control, some good foot pegs, and some new levers and handlebars, but it wasn't all smooth sailing. I came back from Australia where I joined a ride called the Big Bore 6-Day, ready to get the Transalp build over the line.
Well inside the top 10 deadliest in the world. Absolutely, great fellas.
So I just got back from my trip away. I came home to a box. It's very exciting. Let me show you. So first things first, classic me, my mic died between that last shot and this shot, and I didn't pick it up for the next 2 hours. What I think I went on to say here was, I have worked with Tractive once before on the T7 project and I liked what they do, and they make a stack of product for the Transalp in all different specs and configurations and ride heights. Now, I did really struggle to decide what I was going to do here between going for extended tall suspension or staying at the stock height. For me, this decision hinged on 2 choices. I really like the stock height of the Transalp because it's manageable. It's kind of part of the charm of it as an adventure bike. You're in charge. The downside is you've got less travel and less ground clearance. Now, for classic adventure riding, gravel roads and covering long distances, I don't think it's needed. But if you want to push the boat a little more, then those 2 things are extremely good. Now, ultimately, it was Rod from Tractive that convinced me to go with the extreme suspension in a plus 20mm travel size. The forks are a cartridge kit that replaces your stock fork internals, and the shock is a whole unit. They come sprung for my weight, and the shock is something beautiful in person, machined, well finished, and it makes you feel like you've bought something very fancy. Now, the kit comes with the fork oil you're going to need, some adjusters, tools, stickers, and instructions. Installing fork cartridges is kind of a medium difficulty job. You mostly need a vise and some patience and a couple of other little tools to help. The first step is to get the forks out, and I like to release the cap when the forks are still in the bike in the triple clamps. Once they're out, it's on to stripping the internals out and replacing them. The fork cap unscrews from the leg because we already broke the tension. Otherwise, I find this really tricky without a fork vice clamp, and you don't just want to clamp a fork in the vice because you'll oval the tube. From there, I drain the oil, and then we need to remove the fork cap so we can take the spring off. This was tighter than I thought it would be, and I actually ended up watching another video to make sure I wasn't about to break it into pieces. Otherwise, it's a relatively systematic approach that's similar to most other forks. The original damper rod unbolts from the bottom of the fork leg, and then the new Tractive cartridge can go in, and we're on the process of reassembly. You'll need to add the oil at the end, and Tractive specify the exact amount and provide the correct oil in the kit. The parts fitted absolutely perfectly, and the Tractive fork cap looks so damn nice in person. The shock is a much simpler straight swap, and on the Transalp this was really easy to do. I am genuinely blown away by the difference in size of these 2 shocks. This one is so beefy in comparison, so hopefully it's an improvement. It's pretty hard to imagine that it wouldn't be. But yeah, let's get it in. It is nearly done. The suspension's all in, it's all done up. It's looking a lot taller. There's a lot more ground clearance going on. But we have run into a problem with this. The remote preload adjuster. This thing normally mounts here on the foot peg hanger for the pillion footrest. However, we've got no pillion footrest on this, and I don't want any. I want it to be minimal, so that's a problem that we need to solve, and I think I'm gonna have to fabricate something out of just an old bit of metal that I've got. So fabricate is like, sounds more professional than this is going to be. This is going to be cutting and drilling some steel plate that I had lying around from a tow bar, I think. So yeah, we'll do that and then we'll go from there. Honestly, sometimes I am an idiot. Genuinely, I'm going to run you through this process because it is funny, but I did not need to do any of what you're about to watch me do because unsurprisingly, the part I needed was buried in the box and was a neatly made bracket that Tractive actually send. I'll show you that later, but for now, let's enjoy my stupidity. Okay, I think I found the solution. So I've got these old bits of steel from the tow bar on my van that came as like spacers just to space the tow bar up. I don't need any of them. They just scrap effectively that I've got laying around. It is mild steel, so it's very heavy, but the plate fits exactly across the pillion peg, and then I'm going to cut out 2 strips of here and then use some nice little bolts just to attach it so it's got a little bit of rotational strength, and then drill 2 extra holes for the reservoir to sit on, and that should work perfectly. Well, that didn't go to plan. I'm never very good at I don't know how to drill very well. I always seem to break drill bits, and I never know whether to go fast or slow, but kind of nearly there. Like, this piece is coming together well, and I think it's gonna be nice when it's done, but like, it's a new day. And I am very excited to do this today. My enthusiasm has returned after it waned significantly last night. I went to a hardware store and I bought a center punch because I didn't own one. And it's gonna make drilling the holes a little bit more accurate. So let's get to this. The next conundrum that we need to sort is the handlebars because of this clearance issue that I mentioned in the previous episode. I really like these handlebars for a casual riding position. If I was going to ride a really long way in the world, or I like a more upright riding position, I would choose a Pro Taper Woods Low, and I would just run the handlebar clamps in the standard position, the backwards position, so that you've got that clearance. But I don't want to do that. I want to try something else. I've got another set of handlebars. I'll go and grab them. These bars are a set of Renthal Fat Bar 602s. I bought these for my enduro bike as a replacement for the OEM handlebars, which they basically worn out on the throttle grip because they were really soft. And I decided I didn't actually like that bend on my dirt bike. It was too high, and I really prefer to be on top of the handlebars, and I like a low handlebar. And there's something that I've kind of developed a taste for over the years, and I had tried to go with other people's recommendations on handlebars and I didn't like them. I went low, and I now love what that bike feels like. And these are lower than a Woods Low by Pro Taper, and these are lower than the stock bars. They have quite a long section here that is flat and even, and I think they're going to work great. So let's whip the handlebars off and put them in place and see if we can get these to get a bit more clearance so we can get the handguards on them. So I think these bars are much better. They're a little bit less upright. The position when you just chill is not as comfortable, but I think for riding, the riding experience is going to be better. They're a little bit closer when you're sitting down, which is always a little bit tricky with adventure bikes. And more importantly, there is more clearance. So I'm going to get the handguards out and just mock them up on the handlebars to see if they clear. And if they clear, then we're off to the races. So for these handguards, I wanted to go for a very iconic look with this whole bike. And there is no more iconic handguard than the Acerbis Rally Brush handguard. It is the most basic handguard on the planet, but it is also incredibly durable, and it is the staple of rally riding. With the new bars fitted and the clearance all looking like it was much better than it was, I marked and drilled the holes for the switch kit, and that new punch I'd bought made things way easier. Get yourself one of these little punches. So we've got another fun little problem. This is the mounting bolt that goes in the end of the handlebar for the handguards, and it's meant to screw into this and it pulls it together in like a cam system and it tightens things up, and I couldn't get it to catch the thread at all. It was really confusing me, and I pulled it out and I had a look, and it's because it hasn't been tapped. There's no thread in it, so I'm going to try and put a thread in it and hopefully that works, but otherwise we'll have to get another mounting kit, which is really odd. What you going to do? Sometimes these things happen. Also, I have the world's worst tap kit. I bought like the cheapest one and it's not very good. So I don't know how well this is going to go. Tapping the thread into the handguard part wasn't too hard. It's a game of patience, but these kind of jobs, even though you're fixing something that should have been right in the first place, I find super satisfying. I'm hot, I'm tired, but sometimes you just can't wait. And even though we've got a couple of jobs left, I really want to feel what it sits like. Feels like to sit on now that we've changed everything. You know, sometimes it's just the way it is. Whoa, she big. Oh, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. Oh, that feels good. Oh, in the home stretch with the Transalp, I have 4 jobs left to do today. I think we're going to get it wrapped this morning, which will be very nice. It is incredibly warm in this garage. We've been in a little heat wave and it works like a little heat sink. It doesn't escape the air at all. So I'm warm. The 4 jobs we have left to do, I need to fit some grips because we don't even have a grip on the left-hand side of the handlebars at the moment. We need to change the levers out because the ones I have are a bit long, change the indicators and the look. We've got to do the look, the graphics, the most exciting bit of the whole thing. So let's get on with that. Now, next up on my weirdly long 4-item list was some indicators. I'm not that fussed on obscure products, but over my time teaching people to ride adventure bikes, I have seen a ridiculous quantity of indicators get smashed to bits. I'm also 100% on board for small brands making cool things, and so Hammer LED sent me some unbreakable indicators over. They mounted really easily, they plug and play, and it is quite literally an unbreakable design. This is one of those products that I was way more impressed with in real life than I was when I saw them on the internet. It seems like it's solving something that might not need solving, but I'm pretty confident I'm never ever going to break these. The stock lever length was also too long to work with the Acerbis wraparound handguards, so I replaced them with the shorty version that ASV make. It's the same lever, it's just shorter and more like a 2-finger lever, and it means we'll always have clearance of everything. I found that on adventure bikes, and especially the Transalp, the whole handlebar setup is really snug. Getting the levers to clear the switchgear on the brake and the handguard needed some careful tweaking and arranging. The last touch was adding some grips. I'm a pretty big fan of Renthal's soft compound grips and their Kevlar grips, and my local shop had them in stock. They're really cheap. And that left me with one last job to do with the Transalp to really wrap the whole bike together. I really wanted to pay homage to where these bikes started their journey in our memory and our psyche. It really starts from the XL 500 from the Dakar Rally in 1982. It's a Dakar icon from the early years, and I love the color of that 82 race bike with the iconic Honda wing. And I went for a matte finish on these graphics as I love what that looks like. The design is part of a series of graphics that I've just released with our new graphics partner Amped, paying homage to the historic Dakar looks. It starts with this design for the Transalp and is joined by a design for the F900 GS of the iconic Gaulois graphics and KTM 890 Adventures replicating the KTMs from the early years of their Dakar success. And just like that, the Transalp is done. At the start of this build, one of the 3 things that I wanted to achieve with the Transalp was to make it cool. And I am honestly so unbelievably excited by how good it looks. It's funny how a few tweaks to the line of a bike and some colors can make such a huge change. I think the new headlights on the 25 model would look even better, but still, it is really hard to believe that this is the same bike. So let's have a quick run through of the bits I left out of the build footage by accident. First, I added an RNG tail tidy that's made here in the UK, but I will cover it some more in a later video. It is a really well-made product and is 100% worth the money. The extended tractive suspension did also raise a new problem that I didn't consider, the side stand. The stock one is now unbelievably short, but at this point, I'm just gonna have to live with it. Otherwise, I was so happy with this build. I felt like the bike was super robust, it was gonna be really comfy to ride, and the suspension would solve all of the Transalp adventure bike shortcomings.
You reminded me of that this morning. My father, he looked on by. He passed on to the next life. Oh, we all have to face it someday. No matter if we're ready, we pray. Lord, I'm one with my soul. I'm one with the love. I'm when I am whole, ready to return to the light, to the light. No, my soul, it can't be caught, and I'm ready to return to the light. Now your ashes free in the sunny, yeah, the water's coming. We toast to your life. The wine it spills and you smile, yeah, you smile. We don't need to face it someday. No matter if we're ready, we pray. Lord, I'm one with my soul. I'm one with the love. I'm when I am whole, ready to return.
And that's it. I'm done. The bike's done. I've had enough of being in the garage. The weather has been biblically hot recently, and all I've wanted to do is go and swim and go for a ride in the evenings, and we've been building this instead. However, now that it is done, there seems to be only one logical thing left to do with a bike that's set out with a goal. So, those of you that are good at putting two and two together, I'll leave you with that. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.